3 hours after the ceremony ended, Denise Carter walked back onto that football field smiling for a photo she had no right to be in. She hadn't come for graduation. Nobody on that side of the family had. They'd chosen a lake house 2 hours away instead, timed exactly for the day Amara Whitfield became her school's valedictorian. But the moment a video of that ceremony hit 2 million views overnight, the moment strangers online started calling her father a hero, Denise packed the family back into 2 cars and drove straight to the school, arriving just in time for photos with the graduate. There was just one problem. Amara had already posted the truth, publicly, with screenshots. By the time Denise smiled for that camera, the entire internet already knew exactly who had shown up for 11 years and exactly who had shown up for the cameras. What happened next wasn't just a graduation story anymore. It was a reckoning, 11 years in the making, and it started on a Tuesday in March, the day Marcus Whitfield's whole world went quiet. 11 years earlier, Marcus buried his wife. Renee had been the noise in their house, humming while she cooked, dancing with their daughter in the kitchen whenever a song she liked came on. When cancer took her, it took the noise too. It left Marcus, 33 years old, standing in a quiet house with a 6-year-old girl who kept asking when mommy was coming home. What he had was a job cleaning floors at Jefferson Regional Medical Center, a stack of bills that didn't care about brief, and the little girl who needed her hair braided every morning before school. He learned from 2 in the morning phone videos, fingers clumsy, Amara giggling at how long it took him. He was learning to be both parents at once, because there was no version of his life where he got to choose otherwise. His late wife's family thought he should hand the girl over to someone more capable. They said it at every holiday, in the tone people use when they've already decided you're beneath them. "She needs people who can actually give her things, Marcus," Denise told him once, at a table where he was the only one not sitting down to eat, because he'd come straight from a shift. He gave her what he had, every night shift, so there'd be money for school supplies. Every Saturday morning at the library, because he couldn't afford tutoring, but he could afford to sit beside her while she worked. He gave her the one thing that never ran out, his time. By high school, Amara was ranked first in her class. Nobody on her mother's side ever came to a school event. Not one science fair, not one honor roll ceremony. Marcus went to all of them, sometimes still in his uniform, sitting in the back so he wouldn't embarrass her, though she was never once embarrassed. It was everyone else who seemed to have a problem with it. 3 weeks before graduation, Amara was named valedictorian, and the news reached her mother's family through a cousin's post. That's when the group chat lit up, the one Amara wasn't supposed to see, but did because her cousin forgot to remove her. Is Marcus really going to stand up there in that cheap suit while she gives this speech? Tell him to sit in the back. We don't need him making a scene. Not a scene, just, you know how he is. It's embarrassing. Denise organized a previously planned lake house trip instead, timed unmistakably for graduation day. One by one, aunts, uncles, and cousins RSVP'd to the lake house. Not one RSVP'd to the graduation. Amara didn't cry when she saw the messages. She quietly took screenshots, every one of them, and saved them in a folder on her phone. Not to post yet, just in case. "They're not coming," she told her father that night. "Then it'll be me," Marcus said simply, refilling her tea. "It's always been me. That's just Tuesday." He didn't tell her how much it actually hurt. Instead, the night before graduation, he pressed her gown on the ironing board the way Renee used to press his shirts, and told her the only thing he knew for certain: whatever you say up on that stage tomorrow, say it like nobody's opinion in this world matters but your own. Graduation day arrived warm and bright, 500 folding chairs gleaming under a cloudless sky. Marcus wore a suit he'd bought 3 days earlier from a consignment shop. He sat alone in row 11, grocery store flowers across his knees. He watched 300 families erupt into applause around him. Fathers whistling, mothers crying, phones held high. Nobody stood for him. Nobody needed to. But surrounded by empty seats that should have held people he'd known his whole life, he felt exactly how visible his aloneness was. Then, the principal stepped to the microphone. This year's valedictorian, with a 4.0 grade point average and early acceptance to 3 universities on full scholarship, Amara Whitfield. The crowd rose. Marcus rose with them, clapping until his palms stung, blinking fast because he refused to let 500 strangers watch him cry before his daughter had even said a word. Amara walked to the podium, note cards in hand, and found her father's face immediately in the crowd, the only face she'd ever really been looking for. "I had a speech prepared," Amara began. "About the future, about this diploma. That's still true, but there's something more important I need to say first. 11 years ago, I lost my mother. I was 6. In the years since, exactly one person showed up for every moment of my life. Every fever, every heartbreak, every study session before an exam. He cleans floors for a living. He learned to braid hair from YouTube because there was no one else. He has been mother and father, every day, without ever asking for recognition." The crowd had gone still. "Some of my family decided today wasn't important enough to attend," she continued. "That's their choice to explain, not mine. But I want to make sure everyone here understands who actually did the work. Dad, will you stand up?" Marcus rose, 500 strangers turning to look at a man in a second-hand suit, tears finally falling. The stadium erupted, not for the valedictorian this time, but for the man who had shown up for 11 years with nobody watching. That night, the video hit the internet, and by morning it had 2 million views. Comments flooded in from strangers calling him a hero. And that's when the twist arrived, because Denise and the rest of the family saw it too. They didn't call to apologize. They called to ask if they could come by for photos before the story got any bigger, packing into 2 cars and driving straight to the school, smiling for cameras beside a graduate they hadn't shown up for. Amara had already anticipated it. Before they even arrived, she posted the 11-year timeline publicly. Every skipped event, every group chat screenshot, every RSVP to the lake house dated the same day as her graduation. She didn't caption it with anger. She simply wrote, "For anyone asking where our family was, here's the record." By the time Denise smiled for that photo, it didn't matter anymore. The internet had already seen the receipts. Local news picked up the story within a day. Not about a scandal, but about a father who'd quietly done everything right for 11 years while everyone else took credit for nothing. Jefferson Regional Medical Center saw the coverage too, and within a week, Marcus was offered a promotion to facilities supervisor, with a raise that finally matched everything he'd already been carrying. The justice wasn't loud or dramatic. It was simple. The truth, finally seen by everyone at once, landing exactly where it belonged. That night, Marcus and Amara sat on the front steps of their small house, the porch light casting a warm circle around them. "You didn't have to post any of that," he told her quietly. "Yes, I did," she said. "You spent 11 years making sure nobody ever saw what you sacrificed. I wasn't going to let anyone rewrite that now." He put his arm around his daughter, the way he had every single day since a Tuesday in March 11 years ago, and let the porch light burn a little longer than it needed to. Some families show up for 11 years without being asked. Others show up for 11 seconds, once the applause has already started. The world, eventually, always learns the difference. Real love shows up for 11 years. Everyone else just shows up for the photo.